we seem to, as human beings, have the most effect on what's happening in this whole globe. And yet, we are the ones that's destroying it. We destroy it because we don't have families no more. We don't have true relations anymore. We look for allies. And it's good to have allies. But the allies have to be on the same page. They have to work together. They have to understand one another. And the thing is that we have been put in a position today where everything revolves around all this violence. It revolves around violence. I was a young man a couple of days ago. I was involved in many things. I had to fight for our lands. From the time back in the 50s, we went back to the Mohawk Valley to try to get some of our land back. We weren't successful at that time, but we always kept in our minds that someday we're going to return again, and we will. And then in 1974, May 13th, we went into the Adirondack Mountains, and we just took our land. We knew if we made a land claim, it would drag on for another 1,000 years. If we tried to sue for it, we would drag it on for years and years, and we'd be long dead, and our grandchildren would still be dealing with this issue. We said, we were put in a position right here across the river. My people almost went to civil war. We almost had civil war. Brothers against brothers, sisters against sisters, mothers against their sons, fathers against their daughters. We came close. And those of us, we thought about it. We said, why should we stay here and fight with our families? It's not their fault, they don't understand. And so instead of fighting with people who are not our enemies, it's just that we have a difference of belief, difference of a way of life. And so we got our stuff together and we just went into the mountains and we took the land. And we said, if we're gonna fight with anybody, we're gonna fight with our real enemy. That would be the United States. And we were few, but we were determined. Because we always said there is no such thing as we can't. If you accept that thought that you can't do it, you're not gonna do it. The thing is, there's only two choices. You will or you won't. And we decided we will. And we went into those mountains and we were under siege for 3 years. Under siege. Barely enough food to feed the people that were in there. But we held our ground. We occupied land in what they call the snow belt. Temperatures went to 50 below zero. But we stayed. We had no electricity, no running water. We used wood burning stoves, kerosene lamps. And those lamps went out early at night to conserve. But we did it. In the end, we were threatened with jail. We were threatened with National Guard, with the Marines. They were threatening us with everything. And they said, send your women and children out. Let them go home. And we'll deal with you men. We gave it to our women. Our women said, no, we are not leaving. There are worse ways to die out there on the reservation outside of Kahnawake because of drug, alcohol, and alcohol-related deaths, suicides, and so many other horrible ways to die. They said, if we're going to die, we're going to die proud. We're going to die proud. And that's why we hung in there. That was 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So I'm kind of giving away a military secret about my age. 50 years ago. This coming May 13th will be the 50th anniversary of our taking this land. And we do not depend on any government funding. There is no foreign beliefs in our territory. We have sawmill. We have maple syrup operation. We raise buffalo. We raise Highlander beef. We have greenhouses. We have a whole lot of things, a lot of agriculture. We also have smoke shop. We also have slot machine. We also have a super bingo. which the United States and the state of New York said was illegal. We said, maybe amongst you, but not here. And they threatened us. They couldn't shut us down because we were the wrong people to tell that you can't do this. Because we said there's no such thing as we can't. So today, I don't know how much I can help you, except to share with you. Because I can come here and tell you firsthand the struggles that we have gone through, what we have stood for, what we have fought for. And the thing is, this very time, right now, we have those amongst us who are ready and willing to sell our land to the Canadian government. Our people don't want to sell land. We say, we are not into trafficking our mother. This is our mother. We're not going to do that to our mother. She is not ours to sell. We are of our mother. We don't own her. We are of her. And she is going to be the mother to our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. That's who we have to make sure that we take the responsibility of defending the birthright of our children. A birthright is something you got from creation. It is not a right that you got from others. When you get something from others, it's not a right, it's a privilege. But you can only use that privilege as long as you're paying for it. They call it taxes. That's all it is. It's extortion. It's extortion. And today, all this trouble that's happening, these poor children, what's happened to them? The people as a whole, what's happening to them? It's because somebody's interest is more important than the lives of those 35,000 people. Look at here. This institution, who says this is their land? McGill, when he first came to this area, he took from our resources to build all this. Him and the Molsons, they took all this with ours. What was ours? They said we're going to borrow. They have never paid the initial loan, nor they have paid 1 cent interest. But the Canadian government said, we're going to hold your money in trust. In trust. That's a horrible word for us. Trust. And that because the things, they never looked out for our well-being. Today, our communities are occupied with paramilitary forces, and they tell us these are police. They're not police, they're paramilitary forces. And these forces they're supposed to be communal. But yet when Kanien'keha had problems, Kahnawake police were there. When Kanien'keha had problems, Kahnawake police were there. Alcazar police were there. Police from all the different reserves were there. Now if they're your community police, what business do they have in another territory? It's like the OPP do not come to Quebec to enforce. It's a lie, because they're a paramilitary force that were created back in the early 70s, and they can cross international borders between Canada and the United States. They have more power than the RCMP. They have more power than the FBI. They have more power than CSIS or the CIA. They can go anywhere because they're the first line of assault to be against our people. It's the same kind of people who killed Crazy Horse. It's the same kind of people who killed Sitting Bull. It's the same kind of people that had Geronimo sent to a prison in Florida. The same kind of people sent Chief Joseph to the prison in Pennsylvania. One of the things is, when we do not take care to stop traitors and spies, that's what will destroy us. We can see throughout history, great empires who believed they were so powerful that nothing could harm them. But yet you look at the Roman Empire. Why did they fall apart? They fell apart from within. The Persian Empire fell apart because of within. The British Empire all of these empires fell apart, including the Iroquois Confederacy. We did not take our spies and traders seriously. And that's what was the downfall. When we neglect our responsibilities because we think we're so secure, then we're fools. That's how we are overtaken. So that's why this unification that you've built is so impressive that people right across Canada, right across the United States, people in France, people in Germany, young people are all coming together, standing together as one. And this is why you had the French Revolution. The United States followed right after the French Revolution and had a revolution against the British Crown. But the thing is, none of them changed. All they did was they changed the regime. That's why they called it a revolution. It just revolved. It took one regime out and put a new one in. It was not any different. They called it a republic. But as soon as they realized that a republic was not good for them, they called it a democracy. And what is democracy? But mob rule. That's all democracy is, mob rule. Now they're finding out democracy is not such a great thing. Now they call it capitalism, because that's exactly what it is. It's about the capital. It's not about people. And our people need to start focusing on our children. Is this the legacy we wish to leave for our children? It's not. When we look at our children, we're always concerned if they get hurt, if they fall down, if they didn't get enough to eat. Everything. We look at our children. Because we know instinctively they're our responsibility. They're not our property. And the thing is, this culture of possession is what's harming everybody. It's the culture of possession. We all say we want a healthier way of life and so on and so forth. And we do a few things. Well, I'm going to eat granola bars now. I'm not going to eat Hershey chocolate bar. That's not fixing the problem. You got to look at it more seriously than this. And you have to stop listening to historians, because it's his story, not yours. You all got these Kanien'keha passed around to you. But let me tell you something. That only skims the surface of our Constitution. It only skims the surface. And the reason this was put together as an introduction to some other peoples who may be interested in this. And in the stories we tell, we say, if you hear about us and you want to hear more, all you need to do is trace to any of the 4 roots and it'll bring you to the tree here, the symbolic tree. We, the people of this land here, we are that tree. And we call it Tekarontakeh. It means the tree that is always renewing itself. As needles fall, which is the ones before us, they fall. The new needles are coming up. Our children are always being born. And anyone can seek shelter and protection under this. The 13 colonies sat under our protection for 150 years. And it was in that time that Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and others listened to recitals and translations. And from this, they formed the Constitution of the United States. But they did not accept it in its entirety. Because first thing, they made a mistake. They did not respect the voice and the equality of their women. They did not look at the land that it would take care of us all, but they wanted title to lands. You cannot have title to land. That's a man-made thing. How to have something where you will be supposedly you're richer and more powerful than everybody else. Then you can have citizens. Before that, they had slaves. Slaves had no rights. Now citizens have not rights, but privileges. No, I don't have a lot of words for anybody, but I think I should stop. And I know you're going to have questions, and Kahentinetha will give you the solution to world peace. So I'm going to stop right there and give everybody a breather.
No.
Now.